It was a late September evening in New York City. The streets shimmered with reflections from neon signs as rain poured down relentlessly, drumming against car rooftops and umbrellas alike. Ethan sat behind the wheel of his black sedan, the familiar smell of leather seats and faint air freshener mixing with the dampness of the night. Driving was his life, sometimes his burden, sometimes his escape. Ethan worked as a rideshare driver. His days blurred into nights, a carousel of passengers with destinations but no stories worth remembering. Until that night, the first meeting, a notification buzzed on his phone. Pickup, Claire, West 34th Street. He pulled up to the curb, windshield wipers squeaking against the rain. Through the foggy window, he saw her, a young woman with a striking red umbrella, her brown hair slightly wet, framing a face that seemed both tired and hopeful. She closed the umbrella, ducked into the car, and gave a quick, grateful smile. "Thanks for coming so quickly," she said, brushing raindrops from her jacket. "This rain feels like it's never going to stop." Her voice carried warmth, the kind that immediately softened the edges of Ethan's long, exhausting day. "No problem," Ethan replied, pulling into traffic. "Rainy nights are part of the city's charm." She gave a small laugh. "Charm, that's one way to put it." As the car hummed through the slick streets, Ethan noticed her flipping through a notebook filled with rough sketches. Dresses, patterns, handwritten notes. His curiosity slipped past his usual silence. "You're an artist?" he asked, glancing at her through the rearview mirror. Claire looked up, a little surprised. "Not exactly. I'm studying fashion design. These sketches are dreams, I guess. Some are homework, some are just me trying to make sense of my head." Ethan nodded. "Dreams are important." She tilted her head, watching him carefully. "Do you have any?" He hesitated. Most passengers never asked. He was just the driver, the invisible guide from point A to point B. But something in her eyes felt genuine. "Once," he admitted quietly, "I wanted to be a musician. Guitar, songwriting, all of it. But life had other plans." The car grew silent except for the patter of rain. Then Claire spoke, her voice soft but certain. "You should chase it. Dreams don't really disappear. They wait for us." When she stepped out at her apartment, she turned back, gave a small smile, and said, "Good night, Ethan." He didn't remember giving her his name. But somehow, she knew. The rides that followed. Fate has a strange way of weaving lives together. Over the next few weeks, Claire often requested late-night rides after her design classes. And somehow, more often than not, Ethan's phone would buzz with her name. They began to talk more. About New York, about the weight of expectations, about failure and the quiet courage to try again. Claire shared her dreams of owning a boutique one day, a space filled with clothes that told stories of confidence and beauty. Ethan listened, genuinely interested, his usual walls slowly crumbling with every ride. Sometimes their journeys were short, sometimes they stretched longer as Ethan took the scenic route past Brooklyn Bridge or Times Square, just to give them more time together. Claire never seemed to mind. One night, as the city lights blurred outside the window, she asked, "Do you ever feel like you're just driving in circles?" Ethan smirked. "Every night, but lately, the circles don't feel so empty." Their eyes met in the rearview mirror, and something unspoken lingered between them. The showcase. Weeks later, Claire nervously invited him to her small design showcase at her university. "I know it's not your world," she said, biting her lip. "But it would mean something if you came." Ethan almost refused. He was a driver, not part of the fashion crowd. But that night, he found himself sitting in a crowded hall, surrounded by bright lights and chattering students. When Claire walked out on stage, wearing one of her own creations, Ethan's heart stuttered. She looked radiant, but more than that, she looked like she belonged. When applause filled the room, Ethan cheered the loudest. Claire spotted him in the crowd, and her nervousness melted into a smile brighter than any spotlight. Afterward, outside under the autumn air, Claire admitted, "I was terrified. But seeing you there made me braver." Ethan looked at her, hands stuffed in his jacket pockets. "You're already brave. You just needed a reminder." The confession. One night after dropping her off, Ethan parked the car and stepped out. Claire stood under a glowing street lamp, raindrops from a drizzle catching in her hair. "I need to say something," Ethan began, his voice unsteady. "Claire, I don't have much, just this car, just these long nights. But with you, I feel like I'm driving towards something bigger. Like maybe my life isn't just roads and turns." Her eyes softened, shimmering in the golden light. Ethan, it's not about what you have. It's about who you are. And who you are, is exactly what I've been searching for. Without another word, she stepped closer, slipping her hand into his. The city roared around them, horns, footsteps, the endless rhythm of New York, but in that moment, it was just them. Dash dash dash. The journey ahead, life didn't suddenly transform into a fairy tale. Ethan still drove passengers across the city. Claire still sketched late into the night. But now, the small things felt different. Sometimes Claire sat in the passenger seat, keeping him company as he drove. Sometimes Ethan helped carry her supplies to class. On weekends, they explored coffee shops and small galleries, two dreamers piecing together a future. One evening, Ethan picked up his guitar for the first time in years. His fingers stumbled over the strings, clumsy but alive. Claire listened, eyes closed, swaying to the imperfect melody. "You see," she whispered, "dreams don't disappear." And he believed her. Dash dash dash. Epilogue. Months later, Ethan and Claire stood side by side at her first pop-up boutique, clothes hanging neatly on racks, soft music playing in the background. Ethan strummed quietly in the corner, offering melodies while Claire welcomed guests with glowing confidence. Their love wasn't born of perfection but of persistence, two souls meeting by chance on a rainy night, reminding each other that the road forward was worth traveling. Because sometimes, love isn't about grand gestures. Sometimes it's about a car ride, a sketchbook, and a dream that refuses to die.